Hi, my dear Astro family. Today, I want to talk to you about the Jupiter-Pluto trine, which is going to be taking place in 2024. So basically, this is the third video I am preparing for you in regards to in regards to 2024. Hope you enjoy these videos, and then if you do so, please press like and subscribe to the channel so I can keep preparing material for you free of charge. Jupiter and Pluto trine, finally, we are probably going to be experiencing let's put it this way, a pretty okay year. It's going to have its challenges, but we've got some great aspects. And Jupiter and Pluto together are so much to do with finances. So I want to explore where is your financial luck or where is your luck overall in 2024. Last Jupiter trine Pluto took place sometimes in 2015, 2016. Actually, we had three exact aspect happening between them too. 11th of October 2015, then 16th of March in 2016, and the last one happened in 26th of June 2016 as well. So you might want to be looking back what was going on in your life, but it happened in a different sign though. Obviously, Pluto has shifted its energies, as well as Jupiter is going to be in an air sign as well. So basically, we're going to have an air trine happening between them too. Now, I would like to make an announcement. I am going to be holding my second retreat. It's going to take place in Mexico. It's going to be about forecasting. We're going to be looking at several types of timing techniques, but most importantly, how to bring them together so that you can make a more accurate forecasting based on your own chart. If that's something you are interested in, then please check it out on my website. The link is going to be in the description box. And then if you are interested, I would love to meet you there in person. I'm sure we're all going to have loads of fun as well. So let's get started with this Jupiter trine Pluto. So at the beginning of the video, I will be describing you how the energy plays out in the world. And then at the second part of the video, I will try to break it down for you for each of the signs briefly where some of the luck might be coming from on a personal level. So in order for us to understand, Jupiter trine Pluto, even it happened in Earth signs, so we should not forget about that. And it's a big shift, of course. We're going to move into the sign of, we're going to be moving into this air signs. But we have got an archetypical meaning of Jupiter Pluto, right? So 2016, actually, the media called it as the year of terror. Big political decisions and the largest data leak in history was interspersed with record-breaking sporting feats. Now, that's what I found on Google when I wanted to look at the most important kind of like statement of 2016. Let's just have a look at that. Whatever Jupiter touches, it magnifies it. And Pluto is the planet of terror. So a year of terror, you know what? It kind of makes sense. Big political decisions. Surely Jupiter and Pluto plays a significant role when it comes to politics. And then we had the largest data leak in history. I mean, Pluto is about um, leakage, actually, literally. And also it talks about secrets as well. And then we have got loads of breaking sport matters happening as well, which is also connected to the Jupiter-Pluto cycles. So 2016, we had Donald Trump. He won the US presidency. Russia interferes in the US presidential elections. Britain votes to leave the European Union. North Korea conducts missile and nuclear tests. Number of deaths of celebrities, actually. Horrific terror attacks were carried out or claimed by Islamic State fighters in Brussels, Nice, Istanbul, and Berlin. The attack in Nice in July marked a frightening development in capabilities as 84 people were killed when a truck ran through a crowd. One of the few highlights, economic recovery and improved employment figures. registered with many of those poles. So all these, what I'm listing here is really about Jupiter and Pluto energies anyway. And then even we had a virus which was spreading actually. It's called Zika virus. A global public health emergency was declared for 9 months as the mosquito-borne virus, which has no treatment, broke out across South and Central America. Now, we are talking about a mosquito-borne virus. The air signs would be a representation of some type of airborne related viruses, by the way. Then we had the Brussels terror attack. We had the Panama Papers. So the Panama Papers were the biggest data leak in history. Some 11.5 million secret files from offshore law firm were published, revealing the offshore dealings of the rich and the famous, including David Cameron's father. Kim Kardashian got robbed in her own home with a gun at her head. We had 3 coordinated suicide bombings in Belgium capital, 2 at the airport and 1 at a metro station, which actually killed 32 people and injured more than 300 people. So we have got some loads of situations happened in 2016, all related to Jupiter and Pluto. But on a personal level, Jupiter and Pluto is very much about like a bulldozer. It's about being inspired. It's about the transformation of your belief system, what you're going to have to go through, especially in air signs. Jupiter will be on in the sign of Gemini, which is all about your mental capacity. And Pluto tells you that this is an opportunity for you to make changes, to make a mental shift somehow in your life, or you can actually inspire others. Pluto is about empowerment, inspiring others to make changes in their lives as well. This is really, if we say that Pluto is about depth, Jupiter is about insight in the sign of Gemini. So it's about deep insights, finding the kind of like that inner motivation. It's kind of like seeing some type of remedies, uh, coming up with plans and ideas of a long-standing problem, how to tackle it. Often, yes, we can come across intimidating. We might run into intimidating people as well, but also it is about how to maintain your own powerful appearance. It's not necessarily anymore about holding something in. It's not about keeping something to yourself. It is more about bringing it out to the air. Yes, this is also about sometimes rolling up your sleeves to get things going. I mean, air signs are one of the fastest ones. So it's about fast reaction to something as well. It's about discovering that people, the moral code can be changing significantly as well. So we can have loads of questions about whether someone is right or someone is wrong. Yes, it could lead to some type of debate. But this is telling you that we're going to have to approach things a little bit more scientifically as well at the same time. It's telling you to engage more with others, especially with powerful people, because they can motivate you to somehow become larger in a sense. So when you have got a Jupiter and Pluto trine, you know what? This is a time when we can run into success. I mean, it could talk to us about political success, but financial success also. This is very much about no more resistance, and of course, Jupiter and Pluto together can increase resistance as well. But when we have got that mental flexibility, things are going to start coming around. Yes, it is also telling you to keep your ego in check a little bit, to step back a little bit and look at what you are doing, how you're doing things. Um, Often we want to reform things around us, such as policies. We don't want to go with certain type of things. And most likely we will see those type of people as well. And you know what? Probably again, there is going to be some type of controversial topic where people are going to get kind of like divided in a sense. But Pluto is typically about stripping something away. Pluto is about digging as deep as possible, kind of like stripping the ego away. And then Jupiter says, just open up your mind, be a little bit more accepting. Keep an eye on, what is controlling your life, where you put the energy into, because focusing on the wrong things is just going to take away the bigger things, which might be actually right in front of you. But you are focusing on something too small. You know what? It might be that your workplace is going to have some policy changes going on. Maybe the circumstances at your workplace is going to be changing significantly. Those are very, very much possible. But let's go deeper with this. Cycle always starts when basically there is a conjunction happening between two planets. Now, Jupiter and Pluto conjunctions happens approximately about every 13 years. So the very last one, I mean, we had two conjunctions actually happening between Jupiter and Pluto, happened in 2020, June 30th, and then the last one was on 12th of November. And then you might want to be looking at the major aspects, but you can even look at the small aspects as well. Planetary cycles have got 8 phases. So we had a semi-square happening between them to 23rd of February 2022. That is the one which actually brought, unfortunately, the war between Russia and Ukraine. So this trine could bring an end to it, hopefully. Then we had a sextile on the 3rd of May 2022. Then we had a square between them, 17th of May 2023. And then we're gonna have the trine, which is 2nd of June 2024. And then we're going to have an opposition, 20th of July 2026. So the cycle carries on until the next conjunction. I mean, these two planets are really interesting. If you look at Jupiter, which is the largest planet, and then Pluto is the smallest planet, Jupiter is the god of the sky, and Pluto is the god of the underworld. So they have got their differences overall. They had a conjunction, for example, in 1930-31. Often we lose things when these two are coming together, such as the loss of money somehow. Well, we had the Great Depression, for example. But you know what? That was a period of time when Hells Angels came into the picture. First audio action film, you know. Then we had the penicillin getting introduced to cure eye problems. And then we had vaccines coming around, such as tetanus and so forth. Then we had the conjunctions happening in 1981, for example. And, it was in the sign of Libra. Well, we had Diana, who got announced to be pregnant with the future King of England, for example. So this cycle is often about scientific breakthroughs. It is talking to us about something to do with the rich people. No wonder why there were a data leakage going on, about what is happening on offshore accounts and so forth. This is kind of like the lottery winning aspect. Often we tend to be focusing on the rich or on abundance overall, or we tend to be focusing a lot more on luck and opportunities. So in 1981, there was a conjunction, the first computer came around. We had 1994, a conjunction, the first PlayStation came around. Then we had 2007, the first iPhone came around. So you can see with these uh, that there is always some major technological breakthroughs. This time around, surely this is going to be the case because it's Aquarius versus Gemini, and those are really technological. I mean, Gemini is the car industry, so we should see some major stuff, but I'm going to list you some fields which I think from an investment point of view might work out extremely well. But also Pluto tends to be destroying, deconstructing things as well. Things are not working for us anymore, and Jupiter represents the politicians. So even it could talk to us about a political shift. And you know what? A political shift which kind of started sometimes around 2020. Well, we all know what was going on in 2020. Most likely that political meta is going to disappear and there is going to be a new one instead. Often, actually, it brings the death of a politician as well. You know, Jupiter always represents excess. So when we have got too much of something, and Pluto can represent anything to do with guns and, you know, weaponries and so forth, but also it could represent toilet papers too. So Plutonian objects can be an excess, meaning that we can get them cheaper, for example. Right? We should remember that Jupiter is a social planet and Pluto is a generational planet. So Pluto is about kind of like the carrying on the legacy of the ancestors, while Jupiter is, you know, the luck is coming from being social. And it's in the sign of Gemini, which is your neighborhood, neighbor countries. So probably we're going to see that some of the neighbor countries are either having a bit of a fight or they're going to come together and they want to solve one problem all together. Typically, Jupiter and Pluto cycles bring dramatical political shifts. We become a lot more of a go-getter. And in a negative way, unfortunately, it could talk about terror attacks and massive explosions, you know, and typically it happens when someone is not necessarily satisfied with some political matters, right? All of a sudden we have got those unfortunately, because it happens in air sign and Pluto represents poison. You know what? Probably air pollution is going to be a major topic. And probably, you know what? This is a scientific breakthrough of how to clean the air better. Interesting also that Jupiter represents the heights and Pluto represents the depth, right? So it's very much about kind of like trying to pass our limits somehow. So we're gonna make loads of discoveries in the sky, most likely. Loads of new planets are gonna get introduced. So the astrological and the astronomical world is gonna change significantly. You know what? We're gonna have a lot more heroes out there because Pluto represents crisis situations and Jupiter acts like a hero. So when there is a bit of a shit hits the fan situation, then the heroes emerge, right? So they're gonna start coming out. You know, interesting that Pluto makes small things big and being big things small, while Jupiter magnifies these. So you know what it could talk to us about, for example, that in the phone industry, while the phones started to get bigger, now maybe the trend is going to be that we're going to get back to the smaller ones. Or maybe the other way around, you know, that the phones are going to be as big as a laptop. You know, it's a silly example, I know. Most likely it's not going to happen. I'm just trying to illustrate here what to expect with this energy. Probably, you know what, we're going to have better microscopes or telescopes, for example. We're gonna have some awards given to some researchers, for example, because they discover something. And you know what? I think this is also talking to us about how the financial industry is going to be changing. I mean, typically with Pluto and Jupiter, banking mortgage issues tends to be coming into the picture, you know, but it's a trine. So let's hope that, you know, what they're going to strive to fix the mortgage matters or they're going to regulate it, you know, that this is the percentage we can take. Or, you know, recently I saw a video and that was really interesting. You know, they kind of canceled, what was it about? So basically it said that you know, it is forbidden to give a certain percentage, for example, on loans. But now we have got the loan sharks, and then they are allowed to. So there is a little bit of a hypocrisy going on. And that Jupiter Pluto wants to kind of regulate all of it. It could really talk about the corruptions and the lies, especially around where money has gone. For example, where was that money put? Online banking system will be changing, probably the security of those, the password related matters and the scamming issues. They're going to try to fix those. This could pretty much talk about the transformation of the justice system as well, but surely the transformation of education or the transformation of travel matters. Uh, so how to travel, what type of passport you need. Maybe we're going to start seeing some electronic passports, which is going to be carried through your fingerprint. Obviously, some people will not like that either. And surely this is going to bring us some lot faster planes, lot faster cars, and the flying cars. The air travel is going to significantly improve. This is something I have been saying for a while, that there is going to be the cars kind of like flying. And I clearly remember that the first time I mentioned this was about 4 or 5 years ago, and then someone kind of told me on my YouTube channel how stupid I was. Guess what? I mean, it happened already in England. Deliveries, Domino Pizza, I think, were delivering pizzas with just some type of flying equipment. And now they are also introducing that at the Olympic Games as well, in the upcoming Olympic Games. So you know what? It's at the corner, and more people will sign up for that. So technological advancements, profits gonna appear, surely. We're gonna have loads of gurus, and at the same time, loads of conspiracy theories. And personally, I hate conspiracy theories. But I leave that with you, basically. Yes, some research says that Jupiter and Pluto are connected to pandemics, unfortunately. So when we had the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, Spanish flu happened. When we had 2009 a conjunction, the swine flu came around. It was not a full conjunction, by the way. They were just a couple of degrees away from each other. Then 1981, when we had Jupiter-Pluto in Libra, we had the HIV coming up. So this is also something I mentioned last year, I think, that they're going to find some remedies or some ways of healing HIV. And this year they started giving vaccines for it. Let's see how that plays out. But they did extend amount of research around that and so forth. And then now they started giving vaccines to those who actually does not have it, but they are in a domestic relationship with someone who has, so they don't catch it. And we're gonna see these type of medical related changes, surely. I mean, Jupiter always exposes what's hidden with connecting to Pluto. It's gonna be about empowering messages. You know what? We're gonna have those people, who can talk a lot, and we're gonna kind of just pretty much drink their words. This is about the power of entrepreneurs. Yes, negative way, terrorism, the black market, which is gonna emerge, and so forth. But at the same time, the global change. It's pretty much a little bit of a warm air, what is going on, uh, you know. So obviously, the current cycle started in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is about self-mastery, space, time, boundaries, aging, maturation, our limitations. Obviously, the Capricorn Cancer axis is really about the process of an emotional maturation. while Cancer is about emotional security, Capricorn is more about financial and social security overall. And you know what? Finding balance between our work and home life. We're going to have to look at the current cycle because it started somewhere. So, as I said, in 2020, and we have got the opportunity to start improving on. This is also the mother and the father archetype axis, right? So the family axis. So this is about who can have a child, who cannot have a child. So probably adaptation is going to be a major topic here. And you know what? Often with Jupiter and Pluto, releasing the old one and making space for something new. And it's a new belief system, what also we need to be having. I would like to mention that Pluto will be on 0 degree of Aquarius, while Jupiter will be on 0 degree of Gemini. So this is the beginning of something. And then Uranus will come on to 0 degree of Gemini as well, which gonna start speeding things up. So how I'm seeing this, that something is gonna slowly but surely emerging, okay, technology-wise especially, and then Uranus is gonna start spreading that quite significantly. So, and this Saturn Jupiter conjunction also happened on 0 degree of Aquarius, right? So Pluto, and that took place in 2020 also. So Pluto is going to start transforming those type of things. Very, very exciting period, what we kind of see in front of us. So that's the cycle here. So, you know what, when we look at the fields or the areas which are impacted, I think it's going to be about books, social media. You know what, the social media is definitely going to go through a major transformation overall, but it can represent telecommunication, post offices, press, social media channels, traffic, how to minimize the traffic. That's why the air is going to be becoming a lot more important. The cars are gonna change. Maybe they're gonna get smaller, maybe a smaller engine, but more powerful or whatever ways. I'm not good at cars. I'm just giving some examples here. But also some type of brain discoveries, brain surgeries, and so forth could be very significant. Maybe the way how we sign a contract is going to be changing. The documents you're going to have to apply or you're going to have to hand over, for example, to your employees, going to be stored in different ways as well. And definitely it could bring major changes to the tradings also. This could also talk to us about the death rates, either dropping or increasing significantly, but also some research around how to stop aging most likely will get more popularized. Probably the pension system or the pension system is also going to be changing quite heavily. So, I just was thinking that because it happens on the Saturn Jupiter conjunction point degree, so I was looking at what was going on in 2020. I mean, the conjunction happened 2021 December 2020 December 21st. Obviously, we had the coronavirus. We had some news revealed behind the scientist's death. We had the Venezuelans who asked to vote twice. Then we had some protests in India. We had protests in Iraq. We had the Lebanese prime minister who got charged. We had Ethiopian crisis situation going on. Then we had a shipwreck in Tunisia. Then we had the shooting in Berlin. Then we had the Israel government collapsed. And then we had the Uganda election continues to be just on the headlines because there were loads of things going on there. So you know what? These countries can get pretty much affected because they were on the on the news head. But I think somehow Poland will be coming up. Uh, Jupiter will be opposing actually Silesia, which is a asteroid, and that represents Poland actually. So I might believe that Poland will become more of an importance, and Jupiter will conjunct an asteroid called Vatican at that time as well. Obviously, we know what Vatican is. So it could really talk about the death of a pope or someone important, or even it could talk about the freedom of Vatican and getting questioned there, or something gets revealed about them. The Vatican seems to be also a major topic. Now let's talk about some of the specifics for each of the rising signs very briefly. Aries rising sign, this is going to be happening between your third and 11th house. So your luck could be coming from social media, contractual agreements, for example, with friends and organization. You need to be looking at what part of society you are, what you know, who you are kind of collaborating with, right? But it also can indicate that a business idea is coming from a friend, for example. Some of your luck could be coming from selling something. It could talk to you about having a great idea about a company, what type of company you need to register, for example. This is telling you that you need to be communicating and gathering informations, for example, connecting with like-minded people, or to work on behalf of some type of social causes. It is about daily conversations, such as reading the newspaper on a daily basis, kind of like fishing or being on the internet on a daily basis, fishing for some type of information overall, doing an extensive research somehow. You know what? Talking to people you have got mutual interest with. It is also telling you that you can have luck, for example, in writing, if you are writing, for example, about internet or something with to do with blogging as well. This is telling you a mental preparation about your long-term goals overall. This is telling you to kind of have more of a fan base. It is also the adaptation of your communication style overall. And that you can benefit from that significantly. And you can benefit also from if you have got a diary or a journal or a blog overall, or just having new friends, new associations. You can be writing about crusades if you want to. And being just as part as many times as part of a community as possible. Taurus rising sign, it's going to be happening in your second and 10th house. So your luck could be coming from changing career, figuring out new ways to earn money, for example, but also you can have luck from investing into a business or just to kind of shift your investment around. Maybe you're going to listen to a hierarchy figure or someone you look up to. That's very possible that they're going to give you some great ideas, for example. It could be a luck if you open up your business, but you might be receiving pay rise, for example, or just you decide that, you know what, I'm going to listen to Victor and I'm going to be investing into some of those fields he had listed, right? And one of them can bring you some type of luck. Your income is going to get related to the career and the profession you choose this year. So if you make some type of shifts, you might mentally feel a lot better. But surely this is also talking to you about the celebration of your achievements. I think this could give you some great possibilities to earn more money or to get promoted, kind of like getting to a better social status overall. And I think your having some type of success professionally will result in you seeing more money in your pocket as well, basically. Also possible that you haven't felt safe for a while, and then let's say because you didn't have a full-time contract, for example, at your workplace, and then now you're gonna get that full-time contract. But also it could talk to you about finding your true vocational call, and then you're gonna enjoy that, and you're gonna earn some type of reputation. It's very much about getting out there in the world. This is the way how you're gonna actually find, for example, a new career. It could talk to you about receiving an award for something. It could talk to you about actually having two jobs. It could talk to you about uh, that, let's say, your boss is a lot more professional, and that makes you feel more like safer overall. So being appreciated, for example, by others. It could also talk to you about receiving some money from your parents, or your parents' financial situation is gonna get better as well. Something to do with your security, which can get stronger here or better. But of course, there is a lot, kind of like a desire here to be wealthier as well, or to have a more secure position in the world. You just need to remember to crack your brain and to go for it. It could also talk to you about building a brand, for example, a new brand, a new idea, and then making some type of sales through that. Okay, Gemini rising sign. So this is going to be happening in your first and ninth house. So some of your luck could be coming from a travel, or a relocation even. So imagine that you haven't been in love for a while, for example, because Jupiter rules your love department. That's why I'm mentioning love stories here now. And then all of a sudden you bump into someone in a foreign country, and you transform your emotions completely, and maybe you're gonna get married or something like that. But it could make you very unfortunate if you are not open-minded, if you are sticking to your opinion when you are not listening to other people's opinion. Yes, it is also telling you that there is a need here to kind of not change your mind continuously. Uh, but having an open mind and listening to other people is just as important. What else I wanted to mention here for you? You know what? It's about being outgoing. It's also about being a dreamer as well. It is telling you that the dreams can come true this time around. It's how adventurous you are. It's being on the go, flying somewhere. It's having a growth-orientated mindset. That's when your luck is gonna come around. Maybe it's very much about that you're going to change your attitude. Maybe you're going to change your religious belief systems overall. Maybe you're going to be expressing your freedom, or your personality a lot better than previously. Maybe you're going to have this mindset, which has, an expansive mindset. Your approach is going to be changing significantly. Maybe some of your luck is going to come from working with foreigners, for example, who are going to be changing your mindset. Also, being more self-aware, that is also in there, a little bit of a focus on your own personal growth, then luck is going to come around. Or it can also talk to you about that you're going to change your dress, your style, and then you're going to be seen somehow. But also some of your luck could be coming from, for example, studying with someone or meeting a teacher who will change your life. Cancer rising sign. So this is going to activate your 12th house and the 8th house. So these are a little bit more on the challenging side, but still some of the lucks could be uh, coming from these houses as well. So do not be scared of them at all. Your luck is going to come around when you somehow combine, or when you have got a connection with your subconscious, with your spirituality, or just overall your hidden realms. It's about the deep exploration of the unconscious mind. It's about releasing some of your karmic baggages, getting rid of the karmic baggages. It's about the exploration of your hidden fears, desires, or just some type of unresolved traumas and issues. It could talk to you about developing on your psychic and intuitive abilities. Typically, it gets very heightened. You feel, you investigate, and then all of a sudden you realize that, you know what, it is something I can make money out of. It could talk to you about the exploration of your dreams, for example. Are you going to have a lot more premonitions or some psychic phenomena overall? Also, it could talk to you about the transformation of your spiritual practices. Maybe you're going to meditate a little bit more. Maybe you're going to do some studying overall. Or if you are already a spiritualist, then you're going to have a different spiritual approach, for example, to your clientele. It's about finding a healer. It might be that you're going to be doing some type of praying or energy work, which can actually help you. It could talk to you about obsessions about mysticism and spirituality as well. I feel like, you know what, it's great to be reading books about it, but staying real is also very important. It could bring you situations where, let's say, you're going to have an astrology or a tarot readings with someone, and then they're going to give you some insight you have never thought about before. It could also talk to you about a little bit of an isolation, which you need, going on a retreat, for example, a spiritual retreat, and then you benefit from meeting some people who are going to be changing your life. Sometimes the solitude and seclusion overall, it has got loads of healing and transformation power as well, because we can do some type of introspections overall. Again, this could talk to you about, yes, some type of challenges with enemies overall, or someone who is gonna unfortunately act in a deceptive way towards you. But where is the luck in that? Maybe, every single situation can have a lucky side. So let's see how it is. It could talk to you about a betrayal from someone. It could also talk to you about a loss of an uncle or an auntie, for example, and then you're going to get some type of inheritance, and that is bringing you some type of financial luck. It could also be that you're going to have a lot more interest in psychology or psychoanalysis overall, maybe having a bit of a reading. Luck can be coming from studying psychology related, or just attending some therapeutic activities, for example. Again, you might meet some people who are going to be transforming you. Also, transformation comes from surrendering and releasing something. You know what? It's about giving up on a bad habit, for example, or looking at your attachment styles, or realizing that, you know what, my ego really drives me towards certain type of desires, such as, kind of like bad habits, what we are talking about here. So eating chocolate and drug abuse and all those type of things. And maybe someone is going to help you on that journey, and you're going to be able to put them down. Maybe you're going to have luck through surgeries. Uh, Maybe you have got a chronic illness going on for a while. You are up for a surgery, and the surgery is going to go extremely well. And then you can live a full life overall. Also, it could talk to you about being a little bit more secretive, keeping something close to your chest rather than actually sharing every single detail with others. So secrecy can bring you an element of a luck as well. But definitely it's about going on a karmic journey. It might be the luck that you're going to have a past life reading, for example, which is going to make complete sense to you. And, sometimes with the dark houses, the 8th and the 12th house are dark houses, the luck is not always immediately evident. It might be just unfolding a little bit later on for you. Also, it could bring you a some type of healing and transformation by just having a service overall. Maybe it's just a psychological or a spiritual support. Also, it could talk about the creation of boundaries. Remember, I think this time is very much about figuring out your inner strength so that you can portray that out there in the world as well. And maybe you have been struggling, for example, with some unhealthy boundaries issues. Maybe you have sacrificed yourself quite a lot. Maybe you always put other people's needs ahead of yours. And now it's going to be about a little bit more you, and you're going to think that through. Maybe it's also can talk about just discovering of some of your hidden strength, which you can actually turn into money. Leo rising sign, this is going to be happening in your 7th and 11th house. So definitely some of your lucks are coming from the social circle, what you have, or the ones you are going to be building. I mean, friendship can be a great one for you. Also, maybe your luck is going to be the fact that you're going to get to know initially a friend, and then it might become a business partner, for example. Or even if you are single, this might be talking to us about the possibility of actually like a friend who is going to introduce your future wife or husband. It is also about being idealistic, a little bit about relationship as well. And maybe you're going to meet an ideal partner overall. Maybe you're going to meet someone and you're going to feel lucky that, you know what, we share the same ideas, we've got the same concerns, interests, and goals as well. And, I never kind of felt that before. You can actually attract a lot more powerful people into your life, maybe someone who is independent, and their independence is going to inspire you, or they have got some type of unique talents or unusual behavior, and then you're going to like it and you're going to start adopting that into your life somehow. So you can get a lot more public attentions also, actually. It could also talk to you about business partnerships, for example. It could talk to you about some type of luck, for example, when it comes to legal matters as well. And that luck might be coming from a friend of yours. Maybe they can connect you, for example, with a great lawyer, for example, and so forth. So you have got all the ability to actually win a case. I feel like the partnership is a very important one for you in this upcoming year. So the more connections you are making, the better chances you have got to succeed and to become somehow powerful. About having these like-minded people around you, uh, absorbing their attitude is going to change your long-term goals overall. It could talk to you about social media, how to use social media for your own benefits as well. So a little bit of a PRing and marketing of your services and so forth. It could talk to you about uh, that you meet someone on the internet, for example, and it might become a significant partner of yours, not just necessarily on the romantic level. Actually, it might be that you're gonna be a part of a club, a group, or an organization, and then you're gonna experience some joy through that. Maybe you know what your friends are gonna be approving of you. more than ever before. Maybe they're going to be a lot more supportive. Maybe they're going to be actually helping you to fulfill your long-term goals and dreams as well. Yes, that's a possibility that we're going to have arguments, for example, with our partner about friends as well. But then you introduce them to each other, and then they can discover that, you know what, actually are completely different than I believed before. Also, it could talk to you about that, you know what, your partner becomes your best friend somehow. Those are the best relationships overall, right? Maybe you're gonna get some support from your partner to actually fulfill your dreams, hopes, and wishes. Maybe it's just mental support, maybe it's a mental approval, but maybe it's financial as well at the same time. Maybe also spiritually speaking, this could be talking about figuring out the higher purpose of your existing marriage, which is going to be allowing you to become more and more you, or maybe to put more mental effort into that marriage as well. So your attitude around marriage can change significantly. Okay, Virgo rising sign. This is going to be happening in your sixth and 10th house. So obviously, this is going to bring in the topic of career for you significantly. So this could talk to you about having some type of ideas of what type of service industry you should be doing and somehow pursuing that. And that could lead to some success, meaning that you're just going to have a great idea overall. It could also talk to you about, for example, having a new workplace, having great kind of like workmates with you, and then you get some mental support from them. So basically creating some type of friendship at work. Also, maybe it could talk to you about uh, for example, working in medicine industry or investing into medicine, therapy, or nutrition related industries. This also could talk to you about, for example, starting a diet, and then you might start seeing some type of results. If you do not have work at the moment, it could also talk to you about finding a work place which is actually providing some type of service to others, or even working with animals and so forth. Your luck could be coming from the fact that, you know what, you have got a pet. I mean, it happened to me once walking with my doggies, and then I managed to get to know some pet owners, and then we are still in contact. Uh, Obviously, these are air signs, so this is more about connections and relationships overall. So you can really find a job, for example, where you feel healthier, but also could talk to you about full-time improvement, full-time employment, or at least a workplace where there is a little bit more free time, or there is a routine there, or is maybe just interaction with animals. Maybe you're gonna work with animals actually. Also, it could talk to you about becoming a little bit more of a workaholic, being obsessed with your work. Maybe it's some type of training, what you're going to be attending at work, and then you make some great connections. Yes, this could also talk to you about specializing in a field, and then you're going to enjoy that significantly. So, kind of like a little bit of a specialist overall. Fitness journey could take off for you pretty nicely, and you get recognized for that, especially if you are in the fitness industry. But even if you are not, your fitness journey can take off, and then you can see some great results overall. Maybe you're gonna be able to you're gonna be able to do a chest press. I don't know, you can double it, for example, and then you can be proud of that. Sometimes the smallest thing bring us the biggest achievements, right? Also, it could be just meeting like-minded people through gym and so forth. Also, it could talk to you about getting promoted as well. So I have been an employee, and then now I get into a management position as well. And also, it could talk to you about, for example, having some type of health concerns and maybe some type of remedies or pills or something like that going to get introduced, which is going to make you feel better. Okay, so that is our Virgo rising sign. So let's explore Libra rising sign. So this is going to be happening in your 5th and 9th house. Your luck pretty much depends on how much you expand your horizon, how much you travel. Maybe you want to be publishing a book. Maybe you want to be exploring a little bit more of foreign cultures. You know what? It's about the expression of your unique belief system, personal self-expression. But also, these houses are really connected to risk-taking as well, or hobbies too. So turning your hobbies into a profession, somehow sharing those with others. Also, your luck would be coming through children too, you know, whether working with children, teaching children, for example. It could also talk about that you just go on a holiday and some luck is going to come your way. Because the 5th house is something to do with pleasure and hobbies and holidays, and the 9th house is obviously the travel itself. Maybe it's just you going on a little bit of a romantic getaway, right? And then you're gonna bump into somewhere real nice, and then it turns to be a very idealistic, romantic type of relationship. It could also talk to you about becoming a grandparent, for example. It could also talk to you about expressing more your religious belief systems or just tapping into a little bit more of the spirituality. So, the spiritual understanding of yourself. Maybe it could also talk to you about writing a romantic poem or a romantic story overall. Maybe your luck is going to come through attending fun activities, playgrounds, theaters, or maybe you're just gonna find some passion which is gonna be transforming your life, such as playing the piano, singing, or taking photographs, or dancing, and these type of stuff. Definitely, studying can become one of your passion now, one of your hobbies. Also, it could talk to you about attending, for example, a sport game in a foreign country, and the luck is coming from that. Something to do with creativity, artistry, which can be brought on a bigger scale. So even it could talk to you about some of your social media elements to elevate even further. Scorpio rising sign, this is going to be happening in your 4th and 8th house. So this could talk to you about inheriting, for example, a home. It could also talk to you about, unfortunately, death of a parent, which is somehow you might benefit from that. And that's typically something to do with inheritance, for example. But often this is also a possibility of releasing some of your, inhibitions. This could actually talk to you about the possibility of getting pregnant also, if that's something you want to. It could talk to you about receiving, for example, a mortgage. And then you will have the possibility to buy a property. It could talk to you about actually investing into properties as well. So the sales of a property which can go through for you, and then you sell it for a lot more than you expected, something like that. Or maybe you are able to buy a property pretty cheap, and you just need to do a little bit of a renovation or a better marketing around it, and then eventually you're going to be able to make quite a nice amount of money out of that. Also, this could indicate that releasing some of your psychological insecurities that can bring you some luck. Now, let's be frank, who would not be lucky by releasing their psychological inhibitions, right? So this is a great piece of advice, I'm guessing, for every single of us. But this time around, definitely for you, this could be very significant. The transformation of your family dynamics, for example, in in I mean, in an unlikely situation, but it could talk to us about a death experience as well, and that's going to be kind of like a near death experience, and it's going to be changing our attitude completely. It could also talk to you about managing to overcome sexual abuse or sexual insecurities by meeting someone who is very similar, for example, and so forth. Maybe somehow family members will be helping you to manage your funds or resources altogether. Maybe you have a friend of yours who works at a bank, and then they are going to be helping you to do something with your credit score. Definitely, luck can be coming from making some research in your family lineage, a little bit of a detective work, a little bit of a private investigation, and so forth, or the exploration of any type of taboo topics. Maybe actually you're going to get to know something about your family you have never heard before, and somehow that sets you free, or it gives you an element of exploration of certain type of things. It could also talk to you about, let's say, just being around ruins, or kind of like an older city type of, or an ancient part of the cities, and so forth. Unfortunately, this could talk to you about almost getting injured as well, for example, but it doesn't happen. So that type of luck. It could also talk to you about having a little bit of a family debate, quarrels overall, and they can go extremely wrong, but somehow you come out as a winner out of that. Definitely, this is also about the exploration of your happiness. Why am I not happy? If you work on your emotional foundation, probably your life can come around. Okay, Sagittarius rising sign. This is going to be happening in your seventh and third house. You know what? This is telling you that this year we're going to have to learn to communicate with our partner a lot better. And this can bring you some element of luck, enjoying the discussions what you are having with your partner, having ideas and then bouncing back and forth on those ideas, sharing your ideas with your partner or with your friends, or just someone in the neighborhood overall, because you never know who is going to mentally stimulate you. This is also telling you that spending more time with your partner might bring you an element of luck overall. So, maybe because they're going to be able to introduce you to someone. It could also indicate that getting your partner involved, for example, in a contractual agreement, can be a luck for you. Maybe just taking step-by-step approach to relationships, not necessarily rushing things, is going to build some more stability into your relationship, or just these honest, open conversations overall. This could also indicate that, you know what, there is, for example, someone around you, um, uh, there is someone around you who are, in your neighborhood, who is actually your potential partner, and you never thought of them as a romantic endeavor, for example. But also just the fact that you are helping others might give you somehow the possibility of, receiving help from others. Curiosity in relationship, or when someone is speaking on your behalf or you are speaking on their behalf, can bring you some luck as well. So getting advice from others, sharing your thoughts, exchanging ideas could be very, very important for you. Also, this could talk to you about just thinking about partnership a lot more. And I think we need a little bit of more of a positive mindset here. Also, maybe you have had some concerns in your relationship on a daily level, and then now that concern is gonna somehow disappear, or you're gonna be able to find a solution for the problem. And you know what? It could talk to you about the attraction of more clients or attending a wedding ceremony, for example, or maybe just a divorce. And the divorce is going to bring you some element of luck. Capricorn rising sign. So this is going to be happening in your second and the sixth house. So this is also very much connected to something to do with your finances and work. So this could pretty much talk to you about investments in medical fields and medical research related matters, and that could bring you luck somehow. This could also talk to you about working in a service industry, and that service industry can take off pretty much. But also, it tells you that your physical safety pretty much depends on what type of colleagues or workmates you have. Or even your earning ability depends on your health situation as well. This is telling you to change your belief system about food, and your fitness regime. It's telling you to bring your body and your mind together. When you integrate them both, then actually you have got a lot more meaningful life overall. This could also talk to you about that your self-worth, or you're going to be able to love yourself more if you have got, for example, an animal. But definitely, it's kind of like having a craft and earning money through a craft, or maybe you just want to do some health practitioner type of course, for example. Your luck would be coming from how organized you are, how healthy you are, how much you are investing into, your colleagues, how much time you spend with your colleagues. Definitely can talk to you about the change of your hiring practices, for example. That could be pretty significant actually for you, meaning that if you are a boss, then adapting a different style might attract a better quality people for you. Also, definitely, this is about the fact that your self-esteem can grow quite significantly, for example, at your workplace, because you get somehow recognized, or maybe you get promoted. Diet, maybe you change your diet completely. I'm going to become a vegetarian. I'm going to cut out sugar of my life and so forth. And that is going to be boosting not just your confidence level, you're going to lose weight as well. And maybe your blood pressure is going to get better too. But also, can talk to you about spending a little bit too much money, for example, on animals or your lifestyle and so forth. And if you have got a business, then it can talk to you about increasing your business expenditure a little bit, because that might bring you some element of luck around. Great. So the next sign is Aquarius. So this is going to be happening in your first and fifth house. So as I said, it's going to be taking place in your first and the fifth house. So we're going to have to bring those two together if we want to be pretty much successful in 2024. It means that you're going to have to bring in creativity into your personal life. It's about expressing yourself truly who you are, and you're going to have to discover a little bit more of the risk-taking side of yours. You might want to be choosing a hobby, for example, turning your hobby into one of your assets, and you might want to be changing somehow, transforming your self-image overall. I feel like, you know what, if you have got more of a fun attitude, if you are approaching things a little bit more from a light-hearted point of view, then you can invite some luck into your life, and people are going to notice about something positive about you. It's about being playful, being entertaining overall. It's about embracing your inner child a little bit. Maybe you can have luck through art, romance, going to a theater, for example, or going to a dance club, and then you meet the love of your life, for example. So it could bring you some luck in regards to love matters as well. And but also expressing about your romantic nature, talking about your romantic nature, being a little bit more flirtatious overall. Also, it can indicate that sometimes you're going to have to be a little bit dramatic as well, theatrical overall. But I feel like if you are childlike, playful, you crave for attention and you making sure that you are in the middle of the attention, then it can work out greatly. Also, your luck could be coming from doing some element of sport or being around children. You give a bit more attention the way you look like, you change your style, for example, that could be pretty good for you as well. Uh, so shaping up, that could be a choice you can do here. And also maybe inviting self-employment into your life. You know, it's about your hobbies turned into a profession, which is going to allow you to grow eventually. And then last but not least, we have got the Pisces rising sign to go through. And for Pisces, it's going to be happening in the fourth house and the 12th house. So Jupiter will be in your fourth, of course. And then we have got um, Pluto going through your 12th house. Now, you know, sometimes this is more on the challenging side, even with a harmonious aspect. I've got this rising sign. So let's see how we can make the most out of it. You know, it's sometimes about dealing with some of the griefs. Some of the griefs the family actually caused you. It can actually talk to you about leaving your family home behind, selling a property, buying a property, for example, overseas, being very far away from your family and the family influences, but also breaking free from any of the cultural inheritance you had from family. Maybe it's actually changing some of the family traditions you have been to. But definitely there is the examination of your subconscious patterns, especially the habitual patterns. You know, giving up smoking, for example. Why do we want to be smoking? Why are we alone? A little bit of an exploration of being single, how we feel about being alone, how we feel being all the time at home between the four walls, and you know, not necessarily socializing. Of course, this can be very challenging because these are in social science. But the 12 and the fourth sign are pretty much about withdrawing yourself, being at home, crying, and dealing with sorrow and grief, and so forth. So often it's about imagining what type of people we want to be, but there is no physical form to it. So there needs to be a little bit, you know, looking at your own habitual responses to things or your habits. You know, when you are forming a connection with someone, how do you actually chase them away from you? And this is coming from family. Your luck would be coming from being charitable to someone or someone who might be charitable to you as well. Maybe it's about helping someone in need, not necessarily just like a charity, and somehow that gives you a sense of accomplishment. It also could talk to you about sometimes the needs to attend a spiritual retreat, for example, where you know what, a family constellation therapy or any type of therapy where you discover some of your insecurities, for example, and that is going to allow you to set you free from something. Maybe it's the way you're going to be looking at spirituality. You're going to be looking at it from a different perspective. Maybe actually some of you are already in foreign countries and then you decide, you know what, I want to go back to my home country because I want to be recharged a little bit. Maybe you feel actually lonely somehow. You are in solitude, and maybe your long lost friends are, for example, in your own country. The work with your own psychological foundation is going to bring you somehow luck. Also, Maybe you want to do some meditation, for example. Sometimes you want to do some active listening as well. Maybe, as I said, releasing some of your bad habits, which are rooted in childhood, and you are meant to be actually transforming those. Also, it could talk to you about selling a property for a foreigner, for example, or you just feel isolated overall, and that's why you want to be making some changes in your life. You want to be creating some better surroundings around yourself. That's a possibility as well. But when you look at the 12th house from a kind of like money point of view, because obviously we are in the real world, we all want to have a little bit of a money, then it could talk to you about starting, for example, a spiritual practice. So working with other people's uh, kind of like working with other people's sufferings, for example. And that could be something you can be extremely good at. Yes, it's also possible that you are inviting, for example, an enemy into your home, right? And that enemy is going to somehow become, for example, a friend of yours. It's deep connection with the inner self. It's about certain type of spiritual practices we're gonna have to do. Metaphysics. Emotional security is another one for the fourth house. What gives you emotional security is when someone is not necessarily coming into your personal space, right? Exploring the hidden family dynamics. These are very karmic houses, right? So some of the or you're going to be exploring some secrets within your family. You get to know something about your family, about the ancestry line, which have not been openly discussed before. And that's going to set you free, at least your mind. You're going to get some type of exploration. There's loads of healing to do for us here, right? Kind of like a little bit of an emotional healing, rejuvenation. But sometimes you do that by being quiet, being kind of like a peaceful mind, being in seclusion and solitude. But don't overdo that because you need to be surrounded by people as well. Sometimes you just need someone who is actively listening to us and nodding. And then all of a sudden we get something out of that. Also, it might be telling you that you are meant to be expressing your emotions. But firstly, you're going to have to figure out what those emotions are, right? Because we don't necessarily know them. These are hidden emotions. Intuitiveness, sensitivity, working with the collective energies could help you pretty much. A past life regression, for example, how you are going to be emotionally nourishing yourself. You know, oh, that could be a huge one, which we definitely Pisces rising sign needs to be doing. Or obviously, the fourth house needs loads of stability, and the 12th house always wants to be somewhere else. So sometimes it's a bit of a challenge, right? To have this secure, emotional, stable home established in our life. It might be a bit of a struggle for you, but maybe you're gonna find a beach resort, for example, where you feel, pretty good, and you have this great sense of, you know, great intuitive feeling that, you know what, this is somewhere where I can settle down. And also, definitely, I feel like it's about helping others as well to overcome their emotional issues as well, getting or grabbing people out of their instabilities. So, guys, these are the 12 signs for you. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And please press like and subscribe to the channel. Have a great one, and we will meet again in another 2024 video, and that's going to be about your love life. See you soon. Bye bye.